steel tool, basically. On the studs, it's gonna. Alrighty, so here we go. I'm doing some studying, winter studying of tires, and there isn't a whole lot out there about how to stud tires, and I thought I would show how I do it without one of those really expensive pneumatic gun tools. You don't need one of those if you have a bit of time, a little bit of patience, and you're only doing 1 or 2 sets of tires. If you're, doing 20 sets a day, then you'll want a gun. But if it's just for your personal use, absolutely you can do it this way. So this is going to work for tires that are pre-drilled. They're pre-drilled for studs, okay? This particular tire, if you look on the rim of the tire of a winter tire that's pre-drilled for studs, it'll tell you what stud number you need for it. And where is it, this one? Anyway, trust me, somewhere on here it will say, there it is, and this one, TSMI number 11. So that's the stud that is needed to stud this tire. These studs they've got a flange. There we are. Okay, so there's a flange in the bottom of it, and it's going to go into that itty bitty hole there, which looks really difficult, but it actually isn't once you have a bit of a process down. One, if you can get the tires studded when you buy them, that's the way to do it. Generally, they'll charge you, say, $20 to $30 a tire to stud them. By hand, it takes about 40 minutes. So unless you're making, less or more than $40 an hour, then there's an advantage for you to do it yourself if you have the time. Otherwise, just pay them to do it. Okay. When you're done, I'm just going to show you. This is the results. Okay, let me just, typical studded tire. And let's get into the process here in a minute. I'll just set up a few things and then I'll come right back. Okay, we're back. Just ignore some of the stuff in the background here. There's other things going on. All right, so coming back to a tire that is pre-drilled for studs. Usually in the mold, underneath in the lug, there's a, it's shaped like that. So it's got a bell in the bottom, and then a narrow neck all the way up. And what you want to do is get that stud down so that the base of the stud sits in the bell in the mold. Okay. When you get that stud in properly, typically you'll feel a little pop. You maybe feel it or hear it as you're putting that in. Now my tools, first off, make sure that the holes are completely open. So I just use a drill. Oftentimes I'll just do it by hand. If I think there might be something in there, I'll do it by hand, because if there's a pebble or something, I can feel it, and then I can pop the pebble up if it's been a pre-run tire. But otherwise, I will take that. That says ivory on it, but it's palm olive. Any dish soap will work for lubrication. Give it a dip. See if I can get this in the screen. And basically, I'm just going down to make sure that those moldings are open. And I'm adding some lubrication while I'm at it. Okay. I'm not drilling into the tire. It's a flat screwdriver. Okay, flat end. Just like so. And I'll usually do about 10 at a time. Do about 10 holes. Rotate the tire. Do about 10 more. Okay. So that's step one, is open up the holes. Step two, you need a tool to put these in. This is just a regular screwdriver. I think it's a square head sacrificed screwdriver with some steel fuel line. I think it's 5/16 steel. And then, so I put that on there with some JV weld so it stays on nice and tight. And then the end of that fuel line, I give it a little tap with a hammer to make it a little bit oval, so that when you grab a stud, okay, so it's not perfect, it doesn't fit perfectly. So parts of the rim of the stud protrude around the outside. So that's so that when you get past that bell in there, it'll snap and it'll hold the stud in. Okay, so you need a tool to push them in. You need some lubrication. You need to open the holes. And then the next step is warm and comfortable is your friend. So just basically warm up the holes. Yeah, it does take a while, but if you've got time, then you can do this without spending a lot on one of those tools. I budget for this whole car, I figure 3 hours. That includes taking the tires off, studding them, and putting them back on. It's gonna work like that. Propped up against my coffee cup. Maybe. There's one. There's two. Three. 4. 5, just like that. All right, and now I'm going to warm up the other ones. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it in the phone when it pops in. It makes a little snapping sound. Just like that. And this one isn't quite in, so I'm going to go in there again. There we go. Looks like that. Hope that turned out okay. So, it's tedious. Take some time. Ideally, wear some gloves that have palm padding, so you don't end up with blisters. But yeah, you can do it. And that's all there is. Studs, soaking in dish soap, some dish soap, screwdriver to open the holes a little bit, make sure they're clear. A steel tool. Basically, takes more time to put the stud on the end of the tool than it does to push it in. Okay, so just a couple of tips here as I'm going along here that may be helpful. One, for your initial lubrication and to make sure that that molding hole is open, Because if it's not open, when you go to put the stud in, it's just going to push it right back out. Use a flat blade screwdriver that is the same size, or almost the same size, as the head of your stud. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two, if you're using a flat screwdriver that's big enough, then if there is a pebble or a stud, if your tires were pre-run, that will typically toss it out automatically, so you don't have to worry too much about prying and stuff. Okay, next tip, you're gonna find that the studs along the center of the tire are more difficult to get in. And that's typically because on a winter tire, the center, the rubber in the middle is usually a more hard rubber than the rubbers on the outside of the tire. So that's just, and they do that to improve the wear time and wear pattern of the tire. So you're going to find that to get the middle studs in, you're going to need to use a little more heat, and to get that middle section warmer, so that rubber is a little more pliable to push your stud in. The next one is you want your stud holes, after you've opened it up, lubricated it, and then warmed the hole, you want it to look like that. Okay, so it's warm, it's slippery. Okay, if you put too much lubricant, in this case I'm just using soap. If you put too much lubricant, when you're actually going to hydrolock that hole, so when you push the stud in, it won't stay in because it's got pressure of soap and air behind it, and it'll push the stud back out. So you actually want the hole open, not full. If you fill the hole, you'll have a difficult time. Yeah, it's going fairly quick, and it's tedious, but it's not difficult. And so if you set time aside, you can do this. Okay, now let's see if we can bring this all together in one fluid motion, so you can see just how much time it takes to do this. All right, so what do we have? We have our something to open the holes up with. We have some lubricants. We have a tool to push the studs in. And we have some heat to soften the rubber so that it's easier to push those in. So I'm up to this spot here with the studs. I'm going to do the next section. And so the first step is to lubricate the holes and open them up. And so we're going to do that. So one. And you can actually hear the screwdriver when it pops past the little ridge, the bell in the mold. Good up to about there. Okay, and so I don't know if you can see those. Now I'm going to put some heat. Typically I'll do 4 or 5 holes at a time. You want it warm, but you don't want it smoking, because you're not trying to burn the rubber here. You're just warming it up so it's pliable. Okay, and so on this side I'm going to do six studs on this side, and then there's another 6 on the other side. So I'll do 12 in all that I'm doing here. And again, the middle ones need a little more temperature because it's a harder rubber in the middle. Okay. Padded gloves so you don't get blisters in your palms. Grab your tool. You may be able to hear them pop in. There's one. Two. That one gave a little pop. Just gotta shake the tray so that the studs stand up so they're easy to grab. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. There. As I said, it takes more time to get the stud in the end of the tool than it does to put the stud in the tire. There. That's that side. Oops. Dropping stuff here. Form up the other side. Yeah, 5-6 seconds over each hole and then move on, because again, I'm trying to warm it, not burn it. Usually by the time the glue, or not the glue, the soap is starting to dry up, that's about the right temperature. Oh, there we go. That one was a little tougher, probably because I didn't get it warm enough. There, did you hear that little pop? Again, it's tedious. It's not difficult. Just one by one. Okay. And that about sums it up. Now, the final step in studying your tires is to drive. And what you're going to find is they're going to be extremely noisy for the first well, we'll call it 100 Canadian miles, 100 kilometers. And basically what's going to happen is any extra protrusion on the studs, it's going to wear down. So ideally, take it out on the pavement and yeah, drive. Put 100 kilometers or so in. It's going to be extremely noisy initially, but within the first 20 or 30, it's going to quiet right down. And that's about it. I hope you found this helpful, and safe driving. Have a safe winter, and good luck out there.